Hi there, it's Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time. Hi there, how the heck's it going? Cheers. Got another wonderful private message. Yes, you're free to, send me a private message once in a while. This one says, I've watched almost all your videos, love them all, love your work, absolutely loved your video on Necronomicon systems in Nokian. Wanted you to comment on your title of Transdeist. Does it resonate with Crowley's pentagram, saying, till the high gods witness at length that man is the lord of his spirit? Well, let's be honest, Aleister Crowley was something which I regard as a wanker. The reason that I say this, I don't want to, really upset people who are Thelemites and all the rest of that, but he makes a big classic mistake, and that he actively chooses to fill his writings with this kind of crazy mysticism, which makes it hard for people to understand what he's saying and what he's trying to achieve. Okay, so that's actually a bad thing because it misrepresents his own position. Because what he's talking about is something very basic and very common and down to earth. Now, I've mentioned his definition of the art and science of changing conformity with the will before. And New Agers misunderstand this. The vast majority of them. And all these people who consider themselves to be magicians, they all misunderstand what he's talking about there. Alright? Why? Because they are all sad, inadequate wankers. Seriously. And this is really, it does upset me that people can use the word science but demonstrate no scientific thought, no scientific methodology, no scientific critical analysis. Alright, so essentially they are lying to themselves and to everybody else. Aleister Crowley drew a stark distinction between this form of mystical definition with the word magic in it, which was essentially a reference to life, and that life itself is the art and science of changing conformity with the will, and the magic of tradition, which he regarded as being unempirical. And the magic of tradition includes meditation, prayer, creative visualization, the use of breathing exercises, ritual, ceremony, crystal gazing, all that kind of fun stuff. Everything which everyone else ascribes to the other category. They say that all this unempirical stuff is science, which it is not. Now, there is an argument to suggest that if meditation, for instance, has a body of knowledge associated with it, then the definition of science, which is a body of knowledge, could be hypothetically applicable. But it certainly is not in the same way as in the natural sciences. But the New Agers, rather like the creationists, misuse the words to try and make them seem bigger and better, because they are pathetic individuals who have delusions of grandeur, believe that they have the right to go out controlling people, using the wonderful ideas of science, saying, oh no, this is a science, this is a science, when basically it is not. It is unempirical. And I just wish that all these damn people who call themselves magicians would actually get that into their thick head and stop spouting out lies. Alright, and actually lying to themselves, because it is upsetting and it is wrong. I mean, even Phil Hine, when I went on that training course with Phil Hine, I was so upset by him, because he used the Dion Fortune definition, which was magic is the art and science of changes of consciousness in accordance with the will. Now, is that also necessarily 100% true? Not really. Is there an actual science of creating, let's say, a theta rhythm? No. What we've got to go by is a series of strange experiences which seem to point in some directions. We don't have enough knowledge to be able to apply the methodologies of the physical sciences. We could say that there is an anti-positivistic form of science associated with these things, but even with their very nature, it really does not quite fit the definition. Okay, I know that's a bit of a tangent, but I think you get what I'm talking about there. And as far as man being lord of his own spirit, I mean, learn to think. Simply learn to think, and learn to think for yourself. That is important. Okay, that is you being the lord of your own spirit, using your brain. I mean, middle school education teaches you about the basics of scientific methodology, and if you can't apply that to something, you got to think to yourself, how scientific is it? And did these people actually concentrate when they were in middle school, for crying out loud? I'm not even talking about secondary school. I'm not talking about degree level. I'm talking about middle school, and the intellectual extrapolations which you need to make for making, I know, little bridges out of plywood, which is what we did in middle school, and trying to think scientifically about the quantity of weights and strains that these little bridges out of plywood could take. Saying that, you know, under some circumstances it doesn't take a weight of 50 grams, and under some circumstances it does take a weight of 50 grams. So what are those circumstances? And trying to work it out, and doing experimentation, and then working out that I-beams or T-beams were stronger than just like horizontal pieces of balsa wood, or whatever the heck it was. Alright, it's slightly different. And people use Crowleyan language incorrectly. Now, if the occultists want to use the Crowleyan definition of magic being the art and science of changing conformity with the will, then they must be scientific in every possible way. But for the most part, they're not bright enough, and they're thoroughly delusional. So they need Nick Dutch to tell them off for being the complete idiots that they really are. Alright. Okay, now there's other aspects of this private message as well, some of which I'm not going to go into. It says, you know, to sum up what is happening now, in the moments of the Kether, the strike of the lightning to the Malkuth of us all, what is happening now? Okay, now that's a bit of a suggestion that there is some kind of like massive change in humanity happening at the moment. I don't think that we can say that. Humanity is changing in a very chaotic manner. Always has been, always will be. When I'm saying chaotic, I mean that if you did understand the position of every single particle, every single chemical in the entire universe, and its charges and all the rest of it, you could probably work out what's going to happen next in accordance with the vector effects on each and every single particle. And of course the willpower of each and every single individual being analogous to particles, and all the various different psychological forces and factors in each and every single human individual being analogous to particles. So what is actually happening now? Well, basically the world is carrying on, turning on its axis. That's what's happening now. And there's going to be changes, because change is the only thing which is constant. I don't feel the need to go into that part of the PM too much. Okay? I don't think that there is some kind of... I don't think there's any point in thinking there's some kind of like trans-dimensional shift, or some kind of like massive evolutionary, you know, we're gonna suddenly like turn into like beings of light. I don't know. I don't care. All I care about is the fact that humans have to learn to think much better and much harder. Number two, the strange experiences that I talk about seem to occur under some strange circumstances, and it's important for us as human beings to try and understand them, because it says something about us as human beings, as we can have these experiences. Alright, and they do suggest there is some kind of universal, telepathic something or other, which I don't understand at all, but, you know, it appears to be there, and our consciousness is somehow connected with it. We are in it is in us, and understanding it might have some kind of benefits to human health, as well as human communication and human understanding, and a few other little things, but only in a minor way, a minor but important way, at some stage in the future. This is why I'm carrying on about this, and this is one of the reasons why I'm quite such a passionate individual about this particular subject. Okay? Keep cool. I've got a couple more PMs to go into. They'll be there for subsequent videos. Keep watching, keep subscribed, carry on rating, commenting, and all the other cool stuff that you do, and I will speak to you again very, very soon. God bless.